The golden age for dating apps is over. Many are thrilled because what they've done to an entire generation is seriously messed up. How did online dating go from a revolutionary development of normalizing virtual connections to a cesspool of desperation, greed, and anger? Before you say how you or someone you know met their partner on dating apps, you need to know that it's not the same anymore. These apps are all getting worse. For example, Bumble's founder is now teasing the introduction of using AI to date on your behalf.
You're dating your computer?
The market for dating apps is weird. One moment you're the hot new thing, and then suddenly the app is abandoned for something else. There always seems to be a new dating app being advertised that this one, unlike the others, has some unique feature that is supposedly guaranteed to find you a partner. These are almost always a gimmick, and in time, all these apps will have you churning through endless profiles, teasing glimpses of excitement and possibility, yet rarely do they allow for love to prosper. Swipe right, swipe left. It's all a game of your emotions, but what they don't tell you is that the longer you play, the more single you remain. We all know that dating apps are statistically easier for women. For every female on Tinder, there are 4 males competing for her attention, and women swipe right only 14% of the time compared to men's 46%. There are many reasons for why this imbalance occurs, but what's clear is that generally, males are expected to attract the females. Critics argue that this imbalance on dating apps, combined with historic societal expectations on men, have led to unhealthy viewpoints on the opposite sex. If a man is not physically attractive, wealthy, or has some kind of other desirable status, success on these dating apps is unlikely. This has caused a select minority of men to develop extreme negative views towards women, and in some cases, it has even turned violent. It's hard to determine dating apps' responsibility in radicalizing these men, but they are often cited as a contributing factor to their declining self-esteem and overall negative perception of the dating hierarchy. It's not just men, though. Some argue that women have developed unrealistic expectations for a potential partner, as dating apps have them swiping through thousands of men with only their photo and a small description to make judgments on. While historically women were the ones being objectified, dating apps have changed the balance of power, as women are also objectifying the men. But this isn't a victory against the patriarchy. Everyone just becomes more superficial.
Sorry, but this obviously isn't you.
Yeah, obviously. You thought a young Denzel Washington was going to show up for your Tinder date? You should have just swiped left.
An anonymous man, frustrated by online dating, created the female delusion calculator by using US Census data to illustrate how likely a woman is to find a man based on their expectations of their age, race, height, and income. Obviously, this data is somewhat contextually inaccurate as it uses nationally collected data, despite the fact that dating is done locally, where certain traits might be more or less common, but still, it does shine some surprising results at how rare it is to find someone with multiple of these specific traits.
Minimum height?
6'1".
6'1". How tall are you?
5'5".
5'5", okay.
You go for like the Ferrari of guys.
All right. I exclude obese?
Yes.
Minimum income?
200.
Okay.
We've done this before. I know what it's going to be.
Radio.
That's 0.028% of
Less than
men.
1%.
Some men, perhaps attempting to beat those odds, end up aspiring to become high value, which is commendable but often misguided. Don't get it wrong. Everyone should strive to be the best version of themselves, yet it seems certain influencers, preying on perpetually single men who have become disenfranchised by the modern dating climate, have spun the meaning of being high value to really equate to being sexually marketable. Some are influenced to become alphas, frequently prioritizing superficial attributes of physical appearance, bravado, and wealth, instead of just being a genuinely good person.
All these girls are gold diggers. No, they're not gold diggers. You're just broke. You're just getting by. Women want to live lavishly. So get the money first.
This might work to get hookups, but long-term, those attributes are often not enough to maintain a relationship. These red-pilled men often share what Sigmund Freud described as a Madonna whore complex, where they categorize women in absolutes as either being pure and virtuous or promiscuous and manipulating.
A lot of girls want to seek financial security from their husband or boyfriend, as they should. But all we ask for, you don't fucking sleep around fucking 50 dudes.
On the other side of the dating equation, women attracted to superficial qualities are likely to be superficial themselves, so the blame can be pointed in both directions. Historically, women have generally strived to date up, also known as hypergamy. This is where they look for a partner with superior socioeconomic status. Interestingly though, in modern times, hypergamy outside of dating apps is now on the decline. This can mainly be attributed to the increase of women becoming highly educated and thereby achieving similar socioeconomic statuses as their male counterparts. Obviously, when the playing field is leveled, statistically, there's going to be a lot less men who will remain in higher status. Yet despite this, on dating apps, the concept of dating down continues to be viewed negatively by many women and men, as it's believed that this compromises their own status. Dating apps have completely misrepresented just how many high-value men and women even exist. Think about it. You're browsing through a bunch of complete strangers, and the only information you have about them is what they choose to put on their profiles. Of course, people are going to lie and deceive in order to increase their chances. These apps are perfectly designed for people just looking for hookups, but if you want to find a genuine relationship, it's a grueling task to sift through the liars, players, and commitment phobes, all for a slim chance at finding your true love. Over time, the earnest daters go on a bunch of bad dates, encountering people who have no interest in real relationships or whose profiles are completely misleading. The sleazeballs push great catches out of dating apps and ultimately pollute the whole app experience. As soon as a new app starts up, hopeless romantics looking for real love begin flocking to it. But eventually, so do the sleazy types who lie on their dating profiles, so the cycle continues. When Tinder went downhill, users headed to Bumble, and then many eventually migrated to Hinge. But now, there's a problem. There's nowhere else to go. The entire dating app market has become monopolized by the Match Group, which controls roughly 65% of the entire US market through strategically acquiring their competition. Now, any emerging dating app is likely to be swallowed up by the Match Group or Bumble to either stop their growth or to squeeze as much money from them before they fall out of fashion. That's a major problem, considering dating apps have one of the most backwards business models of all time. Their purpose is to have users fall in love, yet when they succeed in doing so, they lose those customers forever. It doesn't take a genius to realize the paradox occurring here. You probably know that one of the most popular dating apps addresses the paradox head-on with the tagline, "Hinge, the dating app designed to be deleted." What was once a clever marketing slogan has since turned ironic, as people are genuinely deleting Hinge, but it's not because they found a partner. Hinge, like most other dating apps, has a freemium business model, which means you can sign up and use the basic app for free, but extras, like a higher visibility profile or the ability to message people who have not shown interest in you, are gonna cost you. The average paying user spends around $18 per month on either subscriptions or a la carte purchases. But Hinge's parent company Match Group and their investors are apparently not satisfied with the number of users who are choosing to pay for their services. With their stock prices in the gutter and their investors demanding more revenue, many dating apps have been shifting gears into forcing their free users to become paid users. Hinge, Tinder, Bumble, all these apps' free versions have become practically unusable, as any desirable matches are put behind a paywall as they hope tempting users with good-looking people will be enough to push users to pay for premium. On Hinge, they use artificial intelligence to determine who you would be the most compatible with, but it segregates those people to a special feed known as standouts, where you can only contact them by sending a rose. You only get one rose per week though, yet these standouts are refreshed daily. Hinge practically forces you to pay for more roses if you want to have a chance at connecting with these people before they're gone forever.
Point, don't be jealous that I've been chatting online with babes all day.
Many people have complained that they've become stuck in rose jail, an unofficial term to describe when Hinge blocks the people that you'd actually be interested in from your main feed. It's pretty clear that the app is using attractive people as bait in order to get users paying for more roses, but the majority of users will not give in to this because it's expensive and kinda cringy to pay to shoot your shot. Ultimately, users' feeds become polluted with only people that they would never go on dates with, and the attractive ones remain paywall. Not only do all dating apps follow the same pattern of enshittification, but many other tech companies as well. The term, coined by journalist Cory Doctorow, described how tech platforms initially create amazing, cheap, or often free services in order to become popular, but eventually, they all turn terrible once they inevitably attempt to go after profit. It's a shame because dating apps originally did a lot of good. They allowed for people to significantly broaden their dating pool, finding them opportunities to connect with those they would have never crossed paths with. In the pre-dating app era, your choices were limited to those in your network or a random chance encounter. If you didn't partake in much socializing, your odds of finding someone similar were pretty unlikely. Dating apps are also particularly important for people seeking relationships outside of societal norms. For example, Grindr helped normalize queer relationships, and Ashley Madison helped your scumbag uncle cheat on his wife. The popular apps we are left with today have an enormous network advantage over newcomers for the same reason Facebook remains popular. It's not that these apps are amazing, it's that they're giant. Nobody will naturally join a new dating app if it has no users, and it's crazy expensive to compete in advertising. It seems ironically, what's been working best for small dating apps is waiting for the giant companies to inevitably destroy themselves by getting too greedy going after profit, commoditizing their most attractive users, and letting the sleazeballs and bots take over. Unfortunately, it seems once a new dating app gains traction, they usually just sell out to Match Group or Bumble, thus repeating the cycle. If you want to see the future of these dating apps, you just have to look at their past. In the 2000s, OkCupid and eHarmony reigned supreme. In the 2010s, millennials invaded Tinder, Hinge, and Bumble. OkCupid and eHarmony are fossils of another internet age, only surviving today on middle-aged folks who've exhausted all other options. Modern dating apps are starting to look like they'll have the same fate. These dating services are simply unsustainable business models. They might initially attract popularity, but eventually they'll be left for something new. With declining users and overall enthusiasm for dating apps dwindling, the solution for young people finding relationships might not be another app. These services will always remain for those that need it, but the truth is that most don't. The swipe era may have been nothing more than a fun relic of a generational experiment on finding love. As our world becomes increasingly connected by technology, perhaps some are realizing that when it comes to relationships, there's nothing wrong with the old-fashioned way. A chance encounter on a train or a smile at the bar might be all that you need to form a lasting connection. The opportunity to find love is everywhere. The question is, will you be willing to take it?